class again. So today we're going to talk about is certain topics which are very important, as I said, and these are the relevant Indian topics for current affairs, as I said also. So of the first topic which we will talk about is the Global Hunger Index, that is GHI. Okay, and if you see also when you talk about it, okay, so this is the GHI tool and it is used generally, that is, it comprehensively measures and tracks the hunger at global, regional and national levels. Okay, we will talk something else also about this global hunger index also. And as I said, India has been ranked 94 out of 107 countries, and India has a level of hunger that is serious with a score of 27.2. So about global hunger index, every year, the global hunger index is jointly published by the Concern Worldwide and Welter Hunger Life. In 2006 also it was first produced, and every October it is published. And the 2020th edition is the 15th edition of the Global Hunger Index. So the objective is to comprehensively measure and track the hunger at the global, regional and country levels. Okay. Now every year the GHI scores are calculated to assess the progress and the setbacks in combating hunger. It is basically designed to raise awareness and understanding the struggle against hunger. It provides also a way to compare the levels of hunger between countries and regions. It also calls attention to those areas of the world where hunger levels are the highest. So there is a need for additional efforts also to estimate the hunger. So this is also a very important tool, and it's also called as GHI, which I told you. Now there are a list of important schemes launched by the Modi government. This is the next topic which is very important. So we have already studied in detail, and the Modi government has started many welfare schemes such as Beti Bachao, then Beti Padhao, Swachh Bharat Mission, PM Mudra Yojana, Atal Pension Yojana, Smart City schemes and Make in India and etc. But the central government, as I said, is the welfare government. That is why its social welfare schemes are made to increase the welfare of the general public. Now schemes of the central governments have three categories, and now these categories are the core schemes. Okay, now these categories are also called as core schemes and major central core schemes. Now there are around 6 schemes in the list of the core schemes and 28 schemes in the core sectors. So scheme program, if you see the objective, Jan Dhan Yojana was started on 20th August 2014. It is to connect and more people from the banking services. Skill India mission, that is started on 20th August 2014, is basically for the skill development for youth. Make in India is for basically promoting manufacturing sectors in the economy. This also was launched in 20th September 2014. Swachh Bharat Mission, October 2014, making India a clean country till October 2, 1919. Okay, 2019 basically, that is and Sansad Adarsh Gram Yojana, that also started in 11th of October 2014. Now this is basically done for the development in villages, which includes social development, cultural development. Now Shramyu Jayate Yojana, this also was started under the Modi government, 16th October 2014. It plans to dedicate to labor development. Now Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, we had already studied, 22nd January 2015. Now this goal of the scheme is to make girls socially and financially self-reliant through education. Hriday Plan, now this is the 21st January, this was launched 2015. It is to take care of the World Heritage Sites and to make these sites economically viable. Now PM Mudra Yojana was also started in the same year, 8th of April 2015. That is a loan given to small businessmen from 50,000 to 10 lakhs. Okay, Ujjwala Ujjwala Yojana it's called. It's started on 1st May 2015. It is the distribution of LED lights, so Ujjwal it is called actually, Ujjwala Yojana, to reduce the electricity consumption. Then we have the Atal Pension Yojana, that also started on 9th May 2015. So monthly pension for people from the unorganized sector between the age of 18 to 40 years. Prime Minister's Jyoti Bima Yojana, this also started on 9th May 2015. Now basically this is for life insurance, is given for rupees 2 lakh for people between 18 to 50 years at a premium rate of rupees 330. So they just need to pay 330 per annum per year. Pradhan Mantri Suraksha Bima Yojana, that is also started on 9th May 2015. So this is basically for general insurance and accident insurance for people between 18 and 70 years of 2 lakhs at a premium of rupees 12 per year. Okay, Smart City Scheme. Now this is, you are very known to this. 25th June is started, and developing 100 selected cities of the country as smart cities from 2015 to 2020. Amrut Plan. Now this is also started in 2015, developing all the basic amenities in more than 500 cities which have more than 1 lakh population. Then Digital India Mission, this is very famous and it's still going on right now. We are having a digital platform, so making all the government services also electronically available to the public, and this actually we have done a great job in this. Okay, then we have the gold monetization scheme, that's also started in 5th November 2015. That was the first tier of the government. Okay, this is the second part of the government, and this is the second year. So the first year when the government was elected under the Modi government, they had started this schemes. Okay, now this scheme is basically for lying at home, whichever inoperative gold is allowed, so you can use it for productive works also. Sovereign gold bond scheme. Now this, as you said, you can check the real demand of gold. Government introduced the sovereign gold bond scheme. So this is a very and it's very much useful now, and it's now become a very important tool of purchasing gold. Uday. Now Uday has started from 20th November 2015. Now this is the financial turnaround of power distribution companies of public sectors. And yes, we have the Startup India 16 January 2016 to promote the new enterprises. Setu Bhartam Yojana, that also started in 2016 March 4th. Construction of over Setu means bridge, over and under bridge to make national highways railway crossing free. Stand Up India. So 5th April 2016, this was launched. Loans up to 10 lakhs to rupees 1 crore for establishment of new companies to scheduled caste and tribes and women entrepreneurs. Okay, let's go. Going forward, Gramodaya Se Bharat Udhay. So this also started from 14th till 24th April. This program was there. It was basically emphasizing the development of villages for proper development of the country. Because if you see, India is mostly the population of India is staying in the rural sectors. Then we have the Prime Minister Ujjwala Yojana, providing the LPG connection to BPL families, that is the below poverty line, at subsidized rates. And then we have the Namani Gange Yojana. So this is the cleaning of the river Ganga. This also started on 7th of July 2016. Now, the Government of India, as I said, according to a general survey also done by the National Sample Survey Organization, NSSO, 58% of the total employment exists to the rural sector, and only 38% happens in the urban sector. So, as per the estimation by the Ranj Rajan panel, the number of below poverty line has been declining to 29.5% in the year 2011 and 12. And now it has increased more, it has decreased rather. It was more during 2010. It was 38.2%. So you can see the statistics. Now, as per the Suresh Tendulkar panel's recommendation in 2011-12, poverty has been fixed at rupees 27 spending in rural areas and rupees 33 in urban areas. So total poverty is right now, we are standing is at 21.9% at the national level. Now let's talk about something which is very important, that is RBI's new debit card credit rules in India. So all you need to know is that RBI has issued a new guidelines to make transactions through debit cards and credit cards more secure and efficient, and it has come in effect from 1st October 2020. Now RBI's new credit and debit card rules are effective, and it is to make digital payments much easier. Now before going into detail, we have to know why this rules and regulations has happened. Now, there are plenty of fraud cases which are happening. So to make it more convenient, reliable, and to stop this misusing, RBI has issued the guidelines. Okay. Now, what are new cards? So at the time of reissue, all the debit or credit cards shall be enabled to use at ATMs and point of sale devices within India. Now, as per the notification, most of the banks that issued cards by default could be used anywhere in the world. But now if the customer want to use their debit cards or credit cards outside India, then they have to request their banks for the facility. So that is the protection. What about the existing cards? Okay, now the banks will will be based on the risk perception, and they will see that how the transactions are done, and how the transaction rights are followed. And RBI has also asked all the banks, cards issuing companies to disable the online payments for all debit credit cards that have never been used for online. So basically, if you want to go for online, you have to use your debit card at least once in a month, okay, or else it will be null and void. And this is also for nation and also for abroad. So now people will be able to register for preferences including the opt-out, opt-out services for online transaction, international transaction, and contactless transactions. Okay. So now users will have 24/7 access to switch on, off to, or change transaction limits to all available channels like mobile application, internet banking, ATMs, interactive voice response, that is called as IVR. Now let's talk about a new technology which is started, that's called as what is NFC. So several banks have also issued cards based on near field communication technology, and a merchant does not need to swipe such cards or insert them in the point of sale. You're seeing this commercial ads also, you'll just touch it and you get the card. So then these are called as contactless cards. Also cardholder will get an option also to enable or disable the NFC. If you do not want it, you don't want to use your PIN card, then you use this technology. If you want to use the PIN card, then disable this technology. Now, why is gold pricing increasing in India? Now, according to the World Gold Council, Indian households has around 24,000 to 25,000 tons of gold. Now, India's central bank RBI has purchased 40.45 tons of gold in the financial year 2019-20, which is now has a total reserve of 653 tons. Yes, so there was a time when India was known as the golden bird, but the truth is that India is still a golden bird because it is the second largest gold consuming country in the world. So India's household and religious institutions have this much gold that it can be a matter of jealousy for any other country. As I told you, there are so the World Gold Council estimated that the Sri Padmanabha Swami temple in Thiruvananthapuram has a gold reserve worth rupees $22 billion, and all the temples of India have a gold reserve of 4,000 tons. Now, India's central bank RBI has purchased 40.45 tons of gold in the financial year 2019-20. So the total gold reserve of RBI has touched 653 tons. So we have a pretty good amount of gold reserves. Okay, now as estimation done by the World Gold Council says that the demand of gold in India fell 36% between January and March quarter, okay, due to the coronavirus, okay, and there were volatile prices going up and down because of economic uncertainties. But from March 2020, people started looking for alternatives to the equity investment and purchase of housing and saving schemes. So the price of gold in March 2020 was rupees 42,200 as per 10 grams, which is now increased to 52,000 as per 10 grams in July 2020. So if you see, the gold prices are increasing. Now the price of 24 karat gold in 2020 July Chennai has reached to 53,490 per 10 grams. Apart from this, the average price of gold is above 50,000 per 10 grams in almost all big cities to the country. Now the question arises that why the price of gold is increasing in India. Okay, so first of all, it is a very safe investment tool. Investing in gold is considered to be the safest because there is not a very big fluctuation in prices, and it keeps on giving a fixed return to the investors. Okay, so this is very important. Then there is a low interest rate in the country, so the rate of interest is also low. Most of the schemes like postal office savings and Kisan Vikas Patra, Public Provident Fund, Sukanya Samriddhi Yojana, National Savings Certificate and fixed deposits, they have decreased their interest rates in the recent time. So that is why people are buying gold by withdrawing money from the investment instruments, due to which the demand for gold is increasing and its prices are also following. Yes, there is a traditional demand, because as I said, we all love gold, and people are buying gold for the marriage season starting in December. So now there's a marriage season going on right now. Yes, gold is inflation proof also, that because due to COVID-19 prices of many things have increased and decreased, due to which people fear that inflation may increase in the future. So it is better to invest in gold. So this is like a blessing in disguise during the corona pandemic. And then there is no liability, you don't need to pay to the investors. Gold does not increase any kind of liability, and it's highly liquid. Gold is a reserve property, and it is considered as a status symbol. Due to these reasons, the demand for gold is always good in India. Now coming to the next topic, that is what is Banking Regulation Amendment Bill 2020. Now the Banking Regulation Act 1949 is a law that regulates banking firms in India, which we studied, and this act has been amended and changed by Banking Regulation Amendment Bill 2020. Now because of this deteriorating conditions of cooperative banks, so many scams have come out, the failure of Banking Regulation 1949, and that is why it has been changed forever. And President Shri Ram Nath Kovind has approved the Banking Regulation Amendment Ordinance 2020 on 27 June 2020 to bring all the urban cooperative banks and multi-state cooperative banks under the supervision of the Reserve Bank of India. Now coming to the next one, what is ASEAN Digital Platform and why is it started? See, the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship has introduced the artificial intelligence base called as ASEAN. Now this is a digital platform to bridge the gap between the demand supply of skilled employees in various fields, and the purpose of this portal is also to provide to the skilled workers and the non-skilled workers who have returned to villages and due to the coronavirus. Okay, because this is basically started for the migrant laborers. The condition, and now these people are sitting at homes, they do not have jobs, they are waiting for employment. So taking steps due to this, the ASEAN Digital Platform has become a blessing for them, and that is why they can sit at home and they can search for jobs on a digital platform. Now the full form of ASEAN is Atmanirbhar Skilled Employer Mapping. Okay, so this database of migrant laborers who return to India under the Vande Bharat mission, they fill the Swadesh cards, skill cards. They have the Swadesh skill cards. Okay, they have been integrated with the ASEAN portal. Now thus ASEAN portal will have data of million of unemployed skilled and unskilled migrant workers. So this problem will be eased, and many corporate houses can link them and find the suitable employees at a single platform. So far complete information what I know is like the 20 lakh skilled migrant laborers has been uploaded on the ASEAN portal. Now under ASEAN, the government has identified that there are 116 districts in 6 states, and about 67 lakh migrant laborers have returned to these districts. So these 116 districts have included 32 districts which you're talking about Bihar, then 31 districts in Uttar Pradesh, 24 districts in Madhya Pradesh, 22 in Rajasthan, 3 in Jharkhand and 4 in Odisha. Okay, so the ASEAN Digital Platform consists of 3 IT based, that is information technology based interfaces. What is the first one? The first one is the employer portal. So that is the employer onboarding, demand aggregation, candidate selection. Second is there is a dashboard where you can see the reports, you can see the trends and which occupation, where it is higher, which is lower, and it highlights the gaps also. Everything can be seen in the dashboard. The third is the candidate's application. So you can create, you can track the candidate, you can share, you can suggest, you can share your profile also in this candidate application. Now coming to the next one we will talk about is the Consumer Protection Act 2019. So meaning and key features. So the Consumer Protection Act 2019 has been replaced from the old Consumer Protection Act 1986, and this new bill was passed by the President on August 6, 2019.